Right, folks, it's that time of the day. 9 o'clock in the morning in the UK, of course, 7 o'clock in Queensland, which Queensland is one of those few states in Australia that doesn't jump to daylight savings. So it's a reliable state to live and work in. And so, without further ado, as you know, it's our co-host who's at top of the totem pole, right at the top of the Northern Hemisphere, lady in pink. That's her. And she's going to introduce us to our guest for today. And so I hand it over to Andrena.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good day, and welcome to old listeners and new listeners on Dreaming the New Dream. Today is the 19th of January, would you believe, 2023. And it's a number 9 day, and I'm a number 9, so it's a good day for me. Today, it's my great pleasure to have Barbara Prestia on the show, who I've known for a number of years and when arriving in Australia, and we've done some work together, and we've done a little concert on the Gold Coast with our instruments, and yes, so I've been blessed to know her and meet her on the path. I love her work. I love what she's doing. I love her singing, and I love what she's been doing with the children in Uganda, which that really touches souls. So without further ado, welcome, Barbara, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Andrena. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here and to see you and to share. I mean, life is about sharing, I think, and I think we're all doing that. We're much more happier as a collective when we can share and grow together. A collective consciousness.
Definitely. So first of all, I know you were Australian born. You were born in Melbourne. I know that your mum and dad, sadly your dad passed on a year ago, bless him. But you have Italian blood flowing through you.
Yes.
And what was I've lost my train of thought now.
We've got all the Italian singers, mate. All those sopranos, and we've got all those.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, a lot of singers in Italy. Yes.
Yeah. So really, it's just about you sharing your passion for music, because I know they loved music, so it was in the bloodstream. So if you would like to share how you started in life and the steps that have brought you to where you are now and the wonderful work that you're doing.
So, yes, I was born in Melbourne. Mum and Dad decided to move to the Gold Coast when I was 10, and I was quite shy at that age, actually. I was quite shy, but had a very, very vivid imagination, and I loved I was creative. I was just creative. I knew that I was going to do something in that world, whether it was painting, drawing, music, all of those sort of things. I used to pretend I had a radio station myself with those tapes and, all of that crazy stuff. Back in those days, you had the little cassettes. And so I used to do all of that. And so I think I was about 13 and I started piano lessons, and I enjoyed piano lessons. But my mum and dad then said to me, we've heard about a singing teacher, and we're just wondering if you'd rather sing. And I was like, absolutely. But I was a bit shy, but I also felt this deep urge that I needed to explore my voice. So I went to meet my beautiful teacher, who's still with us. She's in her 80s, and I went to see her. I was so nervous. I had to, yes, there she is, Patricia White, an amazing vocal coach, known across the world, really. She's launched the careers of many a successful singer. But I went to see her. I was very young, and she said, oh, well, would you like to sing something for me? And that was so nerve-wracking, to sing something in front of her. And then I started lessons around 14, 15. And what I love about Patricia is, I mean, she's like my second mum for knowing her for so long. But what I love about her is it's not just a technical lesson that I ever did with Patricia. Patricia is always about the whole voice. So it's a mind, body, spirit journey. And we would have many, many conversations about how the voice intrinsically is part of everything in life. I mean, we could actually say that the voice has, we could work the voice into anything basically in our conversations, which was a lot of fun. And I did, pretty much all of my training with her. I did live in London for 2 years in my mid-20s. Yeah, in my mid-20s, I was in London and I was working as a presenter, but not singing. And I tried to find, someone who could be like Patricia. But, I came back to Australia and I said, you're one of a kind. I could not find a teacher like her. She has this amazing wisdom and understanding of the voice and the physiology and the science behind the voice, all encapsulated in this spiritual bubble as well. So yeah, I'm just very blessed that that's been my training. And vocal production is something that she really honors and is passionate about, and that's what I do now. I pretty much share what she shared with me. She calls my students her grandchildren. She always says to me when we catch up, how are my grandchildren going? But it's about, this wisdom. It's ancient wisdom, I feel. And a lot of people I meet say to me, Barbara, you couldn't teach me to sing. I can't sing. And I say to them, well, we're here and you're speaking to me, which means you have a fully functioning vocal folds. There's nothing wrong with folds. So therefore, I think I could teach you to sing. But it's about understanding that there's the breath and there's the placement and all of these things that they actually knew when they were born, but they forgot. Because if you look at a baby can cry for hours and they don't get a hoarse voice. They will cry and cry and cry, and their placement is perfect. Their diaphragm supporting the sound, their breath is working correctly. So I sort of look in the studio at kind of reigniting those memories for my students. So they're connecting to that earlier. And I often talk about that with my students is, tap into your inner child. What would your inner child do? How would your inner child, sing this? Don't sabotage your sound before it comes out. I see the mental process as I'm sitting at the piano and they're standing there and they're about to sing and then they'll stop themselves or they'll sing a note and it's perfect, but then they change it because they thought it wasn't good, so it's a mind game. It's such a mind game. So Patricia's given me an amazing amount of tools, and I'm so fortunate and great, very grateful to her for that. And now in my own journey, I just want to empower as many people as I can while I'm here in the physical form. I really believe that is my calling, and empower them, yes, with the voice, but in many other ways. I think that, we do a lot of sound. I've done a lot of sound healing, as you have too, Andrena, and I say to this to people that come in here, I say, what if God had given you the most perfect instrument that was in your body, and it was the most perfect medicine for you because it has your DNA, your thumbprint, divinely your sound. There's no one else that sounds like you. And so when I say this, then they start to understand where I'm coming from. I don't want them to sound like Beyonce or Madonna or any artist, Billie Eilish. I want them to sound like them. And that's the bit that most people struggle with. When they say they can't sing, it's because they're comparing themselves to somebody. I don't know who. It could be, whoever their favorite singers are, and they are trying to recreate those singers. So that's the first thing we need to get rid of and start to come into our divine voice, our divine sound. How many times have you heard people say, I was told I couldn't sing, the music teacher, she picked everybody else and I wasn't allowed to be in the choir, or your own parents. I mean, sometimes I've had to pull parents up and say, no, don't tell them that. That's disempowering them. They can't sing, they should play an instrument. Well, the voice is their instrument. That's the first instrument. And then all the other instruments come from that, stem from that. So
I was going to ask you, because I know for like when I was young, which was many years ago now, we were told, and I can remember, the music teacher saying, for all those that want to sing in the choir. So we all lined up and we had to make some vocal sounds. And she was, no, 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 yes, yes, no. And we were always told we couldn't sing. We didn't have a voice, and hence me doing all the voice work all the way through. But do you find in now that still people have come in with that fear of using their voice and singing because of the way they've been taught by music teachers or, like you say, parents? Is that still carrying on now?
It still happens. It's a real disservice to humanity that we are still doing this sort of thing, because we are shutting children down before they even get a go, and the only reason she would have said yes, yes, no, no was because she had a sound she wanted, and that was her benchmark. So, it's we've got to get past trying to sound like other people. And we've got to understand that, of course, if you want to sing a cover of a song, you have to be in tune and you have to, do all of those things, but you can make it your own. You don't have to, in fact, my song, the guys in Uganda actually sang This Ancient Land at the end of your concert. And they sang it their way. And I loved it because it was their interpretation of my work. And so as an artist, art should be fluid. It should be fluid and flowing. And so we are stuck. We just kind of box ourselves as humans and go, okay, we must sound like that. And if they don't sound like that, then they can't sing. And we're missing out on so many amazing and unique sounds. That, more to the point, those beautiful medicinal sounds. So the other thing is, when someone comes to me and they are raw and they don't, they've had a lot of that baggage, a lot of that shutdown, they're constricted, they're not breathing correctly. I have to then try and peel the layers off, and I do that in a very sensitive way. That, you know, I'm dealing with people's souls, and it's got to be, it's divine work. It's, you know, I don't want to do anything that's going to make them feel disempowered. So we work really delicately with some of them that are very, you know, traumatized. Just that, you know, that's what they are. They're traumatized, and we slowly peel away all of these judgments and conditions, and then we start to get to that pure beauty. And when they start to hear their own beauty, it's amazing, you know, amazing. And I'm not only I work with all age groups and all levels. And I have, you know, people that are in their 60s and 70s who were shut down, who decide to come. But I also work with people that have disabilities as well. So there's a beautiful story of a young man. He was in his 30s, and he has autism, and his mum thought, you know, it'd be great for him to come and have lessons. And she would sit in the sessions, and I taught him Love Me Tender. And at first it was really difficult. We worked a long time with this song because he struggled to get tone happening, to fluctuate the tone. So we were really working at trying to get some sort of melodic line happening for him. And so when he finally started getting that, his mum was sitting in the chair and he was singing it straight to her, and tears streaming down her face. And I'm just crying. I'm like a blubbering mess on the other side, you know. And there are moments that I just feel so blessed to be part of, you know, because money can't buy that. You know, this is the thing. They're just, these moments are more precious than anything in the world. So
you can't buy them, can you?
You can't. I've had young kids coming in here with anxiety. Actually, just the other day, I was listening to a parent telling me how much their child had blossomed and how they're, you know, go-getters at school now, and, you know, doing so much more since they've been doing vocal production, because then they develop a confidence.
Of course.
They have this instrument that they're actually kind of connecting with for the first time in their life. And it's doing some really cool things they never thought they could do. So it's God's work, definitely. You know, I sang to my father in the last moments of his life. And
wow.
Yeah. And that was hard, you know, because you're so close to that. But I just am so glad I did, because he loved it so much. He loved me singing. So sorry, getting a bit emotional about it. But
what a gift that was on his transition, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't know I was going to cry in this. But see, again, being an artist means that we need to feel. We can't shut feelings down. And, you know, we live in a world today, and, you know, this is what you guys are doing. We're changing things. We live in a world where people don't want to feel. They just want to numb themselves. They want to lose themselves in the digital world, and, you know, whatever, alcohol, food, all of the things where they just get numb and they don't have to feel. But I say to people, feel. You know, this last year has been actually for me really a challenging year, because I had such a great relationship with my father, and I lost him very suddenly, and it was in amongst some nefarious kind of things that happened in our worlds that most of us understand were not what most people they were. And I was a huge advocate, for people to explore and to research, and I got a lot of backlash for that. But I saw it with my own eyes, and how that process took him out. They took him out, and that would have taken people out all over the world, created the fear, and the rest is, we know. So I've had to feel through all of that, and what I've come up with is that love is the answer. It's love. My dad was always about love. He would definitely want me to push the love message more than ever now, and I will. But as a singer, the last year was hard for me to even sing. I've had to really free my own instrument. So it's interesting, and these skills and tools have helped me so much. I can't imagine having gone through the grief, and I'm still grieving, that's a long process, but having to go through that without having my instrument. And my teacher, again, bless her, she said that she lost her husband many, many years ago. And she said to me, Barbara, my music has healed me, and keep your music always. And so, I think that I'm an advocate for people to feel, to allow themselves to feel. Don't shut any of it out. And in our songs and our poems and our stories, we can ignite other people's feelings.
Definitely. And you can be happily, merrily going along, and you hear a piece of music, and whoop, up comes the emotion.
Yeah.
And you think, God, where did that come from? But it's instant, isn't it? You just got to go with it. And I know when I've done toning, sometimes when I'm going along and I might be just toning or singing, and then whoop, up you go, and whoop, 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 and then and then you moved on another layer, and then you just merrily on your way, and then this little process of healing. And there's no greater power than our voice.
No. And
sadly, with all the things that have happened and people have been shut down, even now, since they're not wearing these things, a lot of people, you still can't, they're mumbling.
Well, it's interesting. I've had a lot of students come to me that they had to wear them, and they've had vocal damage because trying to project with this thing that's there, and it has most definitely been detrimental to even the vocal folds. Teachers in classrooms, retail people that have to speak with it on all the time. So the impacts of that decision, for the greater good it's very questionable what the greater good really is. So, that's a whole other story, but we are the ones, we're the lights, and now I'm coming across people that are really seeing it. They couldn't see it a year ago or 2 years ago, and I'm having some amazing conversations with people, and they're reaching out to me, and coming in the studio because they need to vocalize. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're scared. So we can work through all of those things with vocal production, and it's a wonderful way to do it. And you know, I mean, Uganda was a gift in all of the craziness that was going on in our world. Then I connected with John, who's the principal at the school in Uganda, and I had that very sad year, but then I had that so much joy with this community of humans. There they are, beautiful. And the things that they do, you know, I laugh because I say to them, I don't think I really need to teach you vocal production. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Their mechanism is actually intact way more than the Western, you know, ways of life and the more affluent ways of living, because they haven't drifted too far from their culture and their wisdom and all of that. But what I do for them is I'm a bridge. I bridge them to this world, which they love as well, and they want to understand, and equally so I want to understand their world. So I mean, I don't even like using the word that I teach them. I don't like teaching anyone. I say I'm a sharer, and we share together, and it's this beautiful exchange of things, because my students, all of them, whether they're online or in the studio, are some of my greatest teachers. They teach me probably sometimes more than I'm teaching them. So with John and all the crew in Uganda, we looked at musical theatre. They didn't know what musical theatre was, you know. So we explored that genre. We looked at musical theatre on the West End, and we looked at musical theatre on Broadway, and then I set them some tasks for them to create their own little musical theatre scene for me, and they were amazing. They were amazing, and they really enjoyed that task. And we continue to work this coming year. So I am actually reaching out to everyone who's watching this. You know, please help us build this self-sustaining community that we want to build in Uganda, because, you know, we don't want to, again, it's about empowerment. We don't want them to always feel like they have to take donations from us, because really their country is so rich. It's almost silly that we think that our country is more abundant than their country. You know, the more I delve into their culture and their, but what we do need to do, because we have to work in the currency, and I often say I wish money wasn't an issue. You know, I wish we didn't have to deal with money. You know, it's just such an icky kind of thing, but unfortunately it is, you know, how we have to do things. So I am helping fundraise to build an arts school in Uganda, and also John has got a mushroom farm that he wants to establish there. So there's many things that we're putting in place. I'd like to be able to bring a couple of students to Australia and have them here for 8 months, where I could really give them the basic tools to become vocal production teachers, so that they can go back into the village and do the work that I'm doing here, but they can do it from there. And then there's some amazing drummers that I want to bring to the world. I mean, there's some amazingly talented drummers, and even some of the singers blow your mind, you know, but no one would ever know them there without a lifeline to this world. So that's the bridge, you know, trying to create this bridge.
Have we got a clip of the singers?
Yeah,
Jeff?
I think Jeffrey's got some clips there. They're from my Instagram. But that's fine, Jeffrey. You can share those.
Be nice to hear a little bit of the singing.
Yes, yes.
Which one do you want?
That's my YouTube, Jeffrey, I think.
Yeah, so
you'll
do you want the ancient land or the call for a song for humanity?
no, well, I think Andrena was hoping you'd play, the Ugandan class clip.
Which one's that one?
That's from the Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I just thought it'd be nice, showing the work that you've done.
Well, what I did while Jeffrey's finding that, what I did was my end of year concert I have here. It's a lovely intimate. I like intimate concerts where you can be right close. You can feel the vibration of people's voices, all of that. So I had my concert here, but what I did do is I set up the Zoom so that Uganda was also part of the concert. And they sang for us and we sang for them, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Oh, yeah, I think Jeffrey's got it up there. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Where's it not playing?
Oh, there's a bit of silence at the start, I think. Of that one.
Pardon me?
Oh, they'll start now, Jeffrey.
Oh, right.
You make me happy with
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I wanted to blow that up. You can't really blow that up.
No, probably not.
Oh.
That's the tricky bit. So, the other night, dear.
What are you going to say?
Yeah, you can stop
Barbara,
that now.
Yeah, we got the picture, but no, that's beautiful. And and I know I was talking to you about singing, and I think, like, if you were to give tips for people that don't sing as we think we don't sing because we don't sing, sort of thing. But it's like you say, like, that's a classic song, and if you could just kept singing that over again, you can sing. You just got to find the right, like I said to you, like, I love some of the Last Christmas. I mean, like, God knows how many times, but I'm singing away to it. Obviously, it doesn't feel quite right now, so I'll find another one. But it gives you the opportunity to sing away. You're using your voice. You're lifting your vibration up.
You are. And, there's a lot of science in that too. So, I talk a lot about the resonating cavity being the head. So our resonating cavity is our head. It's not our chest. It's not our tummy. This beautiful skull that's here and is different for everybody is our resonating cavity. So even when we're singing in the lower register, we are still aiming to resonate in the lower part of our head. And obviously, as we move up, it goes higher and higher. So then when we're in the higher part of our register, well, we have, the pineal gland that we hear so much about, the pituitary gland. All of these glands are situated in our head, and they are beautifully activated when we are using our voice in this flow and in this way that we were born to use it. So, that's why we feel euphoric. that's what, you know, gives us this beauty, and our vibration lifts. So yeah, I mean, it's, I just say to people, if you're not feeling well, and there's been times where I haven't felt that well, and then I go and you know, do a bit of singing, and then I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. So it's such a wonderful tool to use for, you know, healing, and self-healing.
Because I know, you know, I've said to people in the past about using your voice. I'm playing with the sunshine here.
Yes.
Humming.
If you want to move around. Huh?
Well, I could be here all week trying to find a spot. Hang on, just well, I got a good signal going.
Oh, there you go.
Is that better?
It looks like it's bright for you. Is it too bright for you?
Hang on, let's see if I can. Right, how about
Oh,
that?
yeah, okay, that's good.
That's good.
I got half a cheek on one side of the sofa and the other. What was I going to say? Yeah, and I've always said about humming and
Yes.
and you know, like when I've done the voice work and we do the letters M and N, and I say do it with your lips closed, and you can feel it vibrating through your head. And if you're doing inner toning, is to do it with an intention of sending that sound to, like, you know, your knee or something, or even, you know, if you can tone into spots, like, you know, you've got, ooh, you know, you tone away.
Yes.
There's so many ways to use the voice and play with it.
Well, you know that humming, Andrena. So I do what we call the siren. Lots of singing teachers use it, and it's that, but it's going up through the pitch, so up to, you know, your higher register, and it's literally it's just this. You're literally being a siren. Now, how many times do young children pretend to be fire engines and police cars, unless their parents told them to be quiet all the time, which some of them might have had that, you know. So they were shut down, you know, shush, don't be making any noise. So they weren't able to explore. They thought they were just, you know, playing around with sound, but they were exploring this beautiful instrument. So this is my website. Yes, this is my website. And actually, Jeffrey, maybe if you could play that. I did a little thing through COVID for humanity. So I wrote the song It's a Call a while ago, and the song was for humanity. I mean, all my songs are for humanity, lifting their hearts. And so in the time of lockdowns, you know, people were going stir crazy. And so I had a video clip done, a very short one. It wasn't the whole song, but it was basically to, you know, put something out to uplift humanity. That's not the one, Jeffrey. It's another one. This is just images of what happened, I think, through the lockdown. But
that's seeing that with that tape, how they had it round.
Yes. That I actually, my daughter put that together, and I put that on my YouTube as well, because it was sad, you know, all of these things, you know.
We wanted to go around and rip them off and think. Anyway, won't go there.
Love is the answer. Love is the answer is what I say. So
hang on a second. I just got to turn it off. There's bloody commercials coming up.
Oh yes, you'll get the YouTube ads.
One thing I'd like to say, we don't have any commercials on our channels and no adverts.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm definitely a fan. I hadn't had enough time to listen to all of them yet, but I thought I really have to listen to Carol's first.
Yeah.
So this was designed to make people feel better. You know?
It's calling me. It's calling our humanity. It's time to hear their call. It's time to see their way. It's time to create a brand new day. It's a call to the world. It's a call for you and me. It's a call and we'll sing for eternity. It's a call and we'll sing for eternity.
Beautiful. I'll have to play that later. And but I saw Bobby Running Fox there and his son.
Yes.
A couple of faces.
I'm sure you'd have some, yes. So Bobby and Mivon are dear friends of mine, and also Glenn Barry, who's the didgeridoo player. He's a very close friend of mine, and they were all there, and it was so funny because Mivon and Glenn actually matched that day, and I didn't plan that. You know, that was divine intervention. Their clothing and everything, and the way uniting of humanity together there. It was just beautiful, and I'm just so thankful that they could all make time to create that.
Whereabouts were you? Was that down on the Gold Coast somewhere?
Yeah,
Miami,
that was Miami. Yeah, Miami Beach.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So it's a great little spot there. I've done a few things there, and it's always a great little spot.
Yeah, I was interested when you spoke about the drumming, because I mean I love drumming and going to drum circles and what have you. And I went to one in Ringwood. You know, sort of been putting out feelers, finding the soul tribe down here and what have you, the earthly ones.
Yes.
And I went to a circle, and it was run by a lady called Shay O'Connell. Anyway, it was turned out to be all ladies, and it was £5 for the session, and there were 16 of us all drumming and chanting together, and the power of this women and this group going out was absolutely phenomenal. But you know, and I know when we used to help run Joe's farm, the drumming circles, we used to have about 50 people all in a circle drumming sticks or what have you. You know, you bring people together, and it's, you know, the power of sound calls you in different ways, doesn't it?
And you've got to have a leader, don't you? You've got to have the leader.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, you go down to Burley Heads and you listen to those dudes down there, and it's just see you later, Jack. You know?
Yes, that's right. That's true. You do need to have some sort of structure around it. Well, that's another little thing that's happening with myself and a very good friend of mine, Helen, who's a yoga teacher. Her and I are going to be starting, because I bought a harmonium, which is that picture, Jeffrey, of that you had put up earlier. So the harmonium is a new acquisition in my music studio. I'm not sure if you can see it, but yeah, it's and we're going to be
advanced in my Shruti box.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing kirtan, which is the mantra, and we're bringing that sort of north, because the Gold Coast is a funny little space. You know, you've got all of that stuff that sort of happens, you know, the drumming and the yoga and the meditation type stuff that happens sort of south of Burleigh. It sort of creeps into Broadbeach a little bit, but from Southport onwards and upwards, it's a bit of a desert. And so we've decided that we might, explore that and, expose people to that, because you don't know if you don't know. So we've got to kind of share it in order for people to know what it is. And if they like it, then that's great. That's great. So that's my little project that I have got going on when I'm not teaching. And that's exciting because that's still activating people's voices. So pretty much everything I'm doing, whether it's writing my own album to share voice and inspire others, whether it's teaching online or in studio, and then the kirtan is activating people to sing in a more, I guess, less kind of exposed manner, because they are singing with others and, they don't feel like the spotlight is on them so much.
I know when
so you go down to Burleigh Hits. How's that? You go to Burleigh Hits to the 4:00 session in the community hall there and get the free feed that goes with the singing and chanting?
I haven't
No,
I haven't been down there. Have you been to that, Jeffrey?
No, they've got an 8-piece band. It's full on, boy.
Yeah.
And they've got different versions of Harira.
Yeah.
Hum Padme Hum. Yeah,
that's right. And the thing is, those mantras they're activating. So they're activating in the sounds, and see, again, it comes back down to the sound. Actually, next month with Helen and another friend of ours, Alex, we are running a workshop called The Science of Sound, where we're going to share our knowledge, Helen with mantra and breath and kriya and all of those sort of things, myself with vocal production, and Alex with his explorations with sound in water and sound that travels, and he's also a Tibetan bowl player and uses sound in his studio with massage and healing as well. So there's so much that's gonna happen in 2023. There's a lot to do.
I tell you what, I when I lived in Lennox Head, I used to go to Mullumbimby to the kirtan there.
Yeah,
a couple hundred there, but oh my God, it was so lovely. And I must admit, I miss that. I really miss that. When I'm in Glastonbury, if it's on the right night, they do it on a Friday every few weeks, and I've gone to that, and it's just lovely being in that space, singing your heart out for a couple of hours. So, and I was only thinking the other day, I'd like to try and find a group somewhere where I could go that's not too far away.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, my harmonium teacher, Alice, lives in Brunswick Heads, and she invited me to a beautiful gathering in Mullum, and it was beautiful. And I've connected with that community, and I'm hoping, that they will support us bringing this further north, and create something like that here. I know it's going to take some time, but we've got to start at some stage. So Jeffrey, come to South.
Now Andrena's on a farm, and so while you're talking about that, I was thinking of old McDonald's farm. But you may not have heard that over the course of the shows there, those sheep, because we're in the winter, so they're not coming out. But in spring and all that summer, the lady opens up the pens and the sheep come out, the goats come out. And you can hear, and Andrena will say, the sheep say, ma, isn't it?
They don't say ba, they say ma.
So you could do an old McDonald's farm going ma, and then the goats could be doing their stuff. And, I think you could go quite well with a little 3-minute video there, Andrena, from the old McDonald's farm, you know. Woof, 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 and a woof, woof here, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? We were taught bar, but it's
Yeah,
not.
I know. And she's got 3 brown lambs. Well, they're probably about 4 or 5 months old now, but they're massive. But of course, their wool and their sheepskin is so thick, it's unbelievable. But and they so vocal. Oh my God! Even with the window shut, you could hear them go, "Ma!"
Oh, right.
And it was like, you know, I could see Jeffrey's face. You could hear him going in the chorus in the background. But they definitely say ma. They do not say ba.
Wow. There you go.
I was thinking, how important is it to sing ma rather than ba?
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. Even to the sounds of the animals, that it's been censored.
Yeah.
You remember when we were kids and we would go.
Yeah.
You teach your students that.
Well, not quite that, but I do teach them the lip trill. Now, I'm going to see if you two could do the lip trill for me.
I can't. Go on.
It's basically this. So.
Okay, we'll go again.
There we go. That's it. So you know, as kids, we will have made those sounds, and also that as well, Jeffrey. But you know what that actually does? That engages our diaphragm. So if you put your hands on your sort of tummy area and do this,
I'll find it.
And you might
sounds like a horse.
Well, it is a bit like a horse, but you need to make sound with it, Jeffrey. So it's a put a tone as well. Yeah. So as you went up, you sounded like a motorbike. As you went up, Jeffrey, did you feel your tummy engaging as it went higher?
No, I went up in the bloody skull.
Why? But did you put your hand on your tummy and do that again?
I've got to move myself around here. Okay, go on.
Okay, so do that again. Don't push the sound though. So we want the sound to go up into the head.
No, is that right?
Yeah.
No. Doesn't sound right.
You've run out of breath.
Coming down bloody Coronation Street there, mate. Running out of lips.
Yes.
Like a duck on the end.
What? You right?
So as you're dropping out of it, it's the diaphragm that's disengaging. The diaphragm's disengaging, so then you're reconnecting, disengaging, reconnecting. But that's part of, so when the baby cries, you know, when you the newborn's crying, the tummy's raising. You can see the little tummy moving up. So that's the diaphragm working. So, you know, sometimes I have students coming in and they're in reversal. So the tummy's going in when they're making sound. The tummy really needs to come out to support the sound. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a bit technical, but I just thought that could be a bit of homework for you. You could just do a bit of, you know, lip trilling and connect the sound.
Any other tips to help any listeners and ourselves?
Vocal tips. So definitely, I would say if you're somebody who has never made a sound, like cannot remember when they sang or even, you know, tried to sing, I would start very gently with a siren, and that's the, you know, mouth closed, tongue rests on the roof of the mouth, and you just exploring this beautiful cavity, the skull, with a very partial sound like this.
Mm.
And what they should feel, or they should feel the sensation of the soft palate lifting. So, you know, when you're about to yawn, and you'll probably yawn now, but when you're about to yawn, the soft palate lifts in the back. We have a hard palate, which is right near our teeth, and then further back we have a soft palate. So that will start to lift. And in that lifting is how we access the higher register. So when we do the siren, we're lifting up through the soft palate into the higher part of the head. Give it a go. Just a but don't push Jeffrey. Jeffrey's a pusher. He likes to push it.
Yeah.
You've just got to allow it. And
no flirting on this radio station.
So did you feel any lift in the back? Did you feel a lift at all?
My tongue, the tip of the tongue feels quite, because it's up on top of the mouth there, and you can.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're opening up the senses of your tip of your tongue, you know.
Well, you know, you're activating all of that. Yeah.
And top of the mouth as well.
Yeah.
Feels. It's not as if you sort of use it all the time, is it? Now all of a sudden you sense it and feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite sensitized to it, isn't it?
I'll tell you another thing. You don't hear people whistle like 2 years ago. No. I don't know about in Australia, but in England years ago, you'd often hear people going down the street whistling away. I mean, you don't hear that at all now.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Whistling was,
Roger Whittaker.
Yeah.
It's dying away as well. You know, these are the things we do. Maybe we need a whistling revival, you know.
Well, yeah.
Maybe I should add that to my kirtan.
Yeah, because you're using your lips, aren't you? You know.
Yeah.
Can't even do it now.
What about your bees? What about the bee one you do? Bees.
A little bee. Yeah. So
Bumblebee.
I always used to get people to cover their ears, cover their eyes, and then just go. And if you do that, you can hear the sound of your own voice. It's really loud, and you can play with it. And you know, I used to say to mums, you know, in a workshop, do the bumblebees and get the children to do it. So when they come in, it just grounds them. It brings them back into their body, and they're not all over the shop.
Exactly. And I think in yoga they use that as well a lot, the bumblebee sound. And it is so calming. You know, all of that just, you know, calms us, and maybe that's also a memory for us of maybe our mother humming to us or singing to us. But we are musical beings. We are absolutely 100% musical beings. We come into, before we come into the earth, in our mother's bellies, we're hearing a beat. We've got a strong sense of beat that's with us from the beginning. So, you know, I think that people sell themselves short when they say, I can't sing, or I'm not a I often now say to them, if you really want to sing, you can. So, you know, you may not want to sing, and that's a completely different thing to I can't sing.
So I think it's about singing in tune as well, because you can follow a song and you can sing with that. But when you try to do something on your own, then it's a different story.
Well, okay, so that's got to do with your ear and its connection to your voice. So melodies are just patterns of sound. So it's about remembering that pattern of sound. So when someone goes a bit pitchy, and we all do, like, I mean, when I'm learning a new work or something, sometimes I'll sing it flat or sharp or whatever. That's because I haven't actually learned that pattern of sound correctly yet. So it's not completely embedded in me. So therefore, it'll sound a little off. Some people can memorize patterns of sounds a lot faster than other people too. So, you've got that as well. But you need to sing with somebody, but then really challenge yourself to turn them off and then start to really, really listen to your own sound and go, okay, does that sound, and that's listening with the inner ear. And, a lot of the time when people record themselves, they'll say, oh, I sound so terrible. So for me, it's trying to get people to get closer to hearing what everyone else hears. So it's developing the ear. I have another story of a young girl who came to me, and she did have quite a pitch issue to begin with, but had a beautiful tone. I could hear her beauty, even though she struggled to maintain pitch. And we worked together, and she went on and has sung and won things, and done very well. So, had she been shut down, then she would have been another one of those people saying, I can't sing. But she's out there empowered and doing it. So yeah, we've got to be careful with our words, don't we?
Very power of words is very important.
Yeah.
There's a Parisian in France. His name is Dr. Tomatis, who did the pioneering work in nose throat as a specialist, and he had members of the Paris Symphony Orchestra's choir would come to them because they couldn't hit certain notes, and that's because they hadn't heard those notes. So he would actually get those notes recorded, and they come to his clinic, and then he'll put the headphones on them and then play them those semitones and Bob's Your Uncle.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of pioneering work in that whole area of specialized healing, for sound healing. Yeah, it's really there at the forefront. I noticed on your website you've got Edgar Casey's statement there too.
Yes. Love Edgar Casey. He's one of my favorites. I've just actually bought quite a few of his books, so I look forward to exploring lots of his
Tell me, one other thing I was thinking about, like doing workshops over Zoom, because it's hard to, like, if you've got a group, say 6 people together all singing, because the sound waves and the quality, you can't really do a singing. Have you found any other way of bringing people together apart from all being in the same room?
I haven't done much in the way of a lot of people together, but I do one-on-one Zooms internationally, other than Uganda, where we do that group. But they're all in the one room, which is good. So it's really like one-on-one, one Zoom to one Zoom. But you have to get creative. Zoom is the only one I have really explored, and I really am up for understanding if there's better ways to minimize delay. Zoom doesn't like the higher pitch sounds, so when I'm working with someone in their higher register, particularly women in the higher register, because they go higher than men, Zoom will glitch out. And so what I end up doing is I end up recording it on my phone and sending them that particular exercise when it, because we need to stretch their range. We can't just keep going where Zoom's telling us. So
No.
we've got to do it. So I've had to think of creative ways around the way I teach and do it that way. So, but I think there's some amazing people out there with technology. I just need to find someone who can who can help me in that department, because I'm actually not very technical. It may appear that I am, but I'm actually not.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'm doing my best. But yeah, I mean, the day I had my concert and I had to hook up the guys in Uganda, I did it the night before. I set it up. I was like Googling it. I thought, for sure, what if it doesn't work? And they're waiting for me over the other side of the world, and it's not, then we can't get it to work. And then my students here in the studio won't be able to hear them. But it all worked out. I just took a lot of time to do it. And someone who's, savvy might have done that in half an hour.
Yeah. This is what we said, the issues I've been having this week with new phone SIMs and all sorts. I said, God, it would have taken somebody a fraction of the time it's taken us to sort things out.
I know. And it's funny, my children aren't ever around when I need them for these things. They're all savvy, but, where are they? You can relate to that, Jeffrey.
There's a great commercial. I can't remember how long ago it was, but in Australia, and Dad's down there on the lounge with the dog watching TV. It might be some sports show, and then he can hear mucking around upstairs, and he thinks, oh, okay. So he gets his wallet out and he takes all the big hard cash, and then he just leaves $10 in the bloody wallet. And so the daughter comes down the stairs and so, Dad, have you got any money, mate? And he said, hang on a sec, I'll get the wallet out. So he gets the wallet out, it's got $10, so he gives the $10. And so he saves himself the money as petty cash because he knows he's going to get hit up by those kids. I thought it was really smart, buddy, TV commercial about Dad's the ATM machine, They only want you when they want you.
That's right. Exactly. So, yeah, I do think technology is amazing. And look, we're able to do this. How amazing. But I'm sure it's in the fullness of time we're going to be able to do anything and everything. So like when I'm teaching a new song, I have to get them to play it on their end so that the delay doesn't come. But we get around it. We just have to think creatively. That's why being, having creativity and not killing creativity, which I do think tends to happen in our schools and our education systems, is important, that we don't lose that creative spark that we are all born with. And some of us choose to explore that more deeply. And look, I think everything's creative. I think cooking can be creative. I think mathematics is creative. Music and maths are very much linked in together. So the world is just one beautiful, creative, flowing bubble.
So in the background, you got the piano. Is that a 5-octave keyboard?
No. That's a grand piano there.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
How many octaves in that then?
There's at least. Well, it's the same. It's the same as your standard, concert keyboard. Like it's
Roland or a
Roland keyboard. I don't even know how many octaves are on there. I have to count them. But at least,
because I remember being in Hamburg.
Yeah,
I went to the Reefer barn, and at one end you've got the Opera House, and then in the middle you've got Schmidt Theatre, and it's in the red light district, and it's just amazing, and it's just a cacophony of sound, and there's a bloke saying, I went and talked to these dudes coming out of the Opera House, and they're talking about a maestro. I said, well, what's a maestro?
Yeah.
And it's a male voice that comes once in the blue moon. It's called a bass profundo, and it's open the checkbook. How much do you want, maestro? And I said, oh my God, because how many times do you hear the male voices in the actual charts? Because they're all young tenor boys or countertenors.
Yeah. That's right. Exactly. Well, there's actually quite a few. I've got one in here who comes to me. He's got a beautiful, warm, bassy sound. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he actually does with himself.
Right, because when you go down to Broadbeach to the what's that? Those three guys, they do the singing there, and they have a song that's all about the bass. It's all about the bass.
Are they the
Yeah, what's it called?
the
Yeah. That's it. You had it.
Koi Boys.
Koi Boys. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't heard of them for a while, actually. Are they still doing their thing?
I'd hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Mm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're very good. The harmonies are good. Yeah.
They are. They're very tight. Very tight. Yeah.
Mm.
They went on a one of those shows, didn't they?
They
That's
did.
how they discovered it. And they were super popular. But I think COVID, I probably haven't heard of them for a while because of COVID. And now
true.
everybody's kind of resurfacing.
Well, even Elton John is turning up to Brisbane on Saturday. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I saw all that going on with Molly, and I don't know. I just shake my head at what goes on.
I got a text in the morning there that said, "Oh, Jeff, my daughter-in-law can't go to Elton John, and she's got 2 tickets at $250 each." And I said, the best off going for a couple rather than just getting rid of them one at a time. So.
Yeah, that's right. And has she got tickets for Brisbane?
Yeah, got for Saturday.
Oh,
Suncorp.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Maybe. It would be amazing. It would be an amazing concert.
I actually saw that guy in 1973.
Wow.
Of all places in Auckland at Western Springs Speedway.
Oh, wow.
And the oldies who run the Auckland City couldn't believe how all the roads all around that area within 10 miles was choked. They didn't know who this guy Elton John was, right? And so he started the show with Funeral for a Friend. And all the lights went out, and then you got the stage, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the stage this piano comes up with this guy on it, and this haunting music that comes from that song, Funeral for a Friend. Yeah. And it was just a bloody unbelievable concert. But I don't know, how old is he now? 80? I don't know if his voice has got the stamina.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, they do a whole lot of stuff to get themselves on stage, I would say.
Yeah, because I went to Eaglebert Humperdinck. He's 82 or something at the casino at Jupiter's. And he's a smart entertainer. Yeah. Because I'll tell you how smart he was, because his name was Gary Percy before he changed his name.
Yes, that's right. I knew
our mate Rob, what's his name? Andrena. He's just passed away now. He played the bass, steel guitar and all stuff. And they used to go and do gigs together. Rob Burgess. Anyway, stepped out of the joint there. So anyway, he gets on there. He's got the songs and all that stuff, and he knows everybody loves his stuff. All the females on the first 10 rows ready to throw their bras and knickers and all that stuff. Even though they're all 70 and all that stuff, doesn't really matter. They're all there. And he can't reach those top notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he turns around and gets the microphone and he points it to the audience and says, "You know the song, you sing this." Oh, he was really good how he got away with that. Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. They lose their top sounds, and you know, young performers also can lose those top sounds if they're not singing and placing the voice in the right place. So, you know, they are clever at disguising how they can get around. They probably build their whole concerts around that. Now, I don't know. I haven't really heard Elton live. So I don't know, you know, maybe he's placing his voice really well, and there are elderly people like in their 90s in the classical genre who still have the sound of someone in their 20s because they're placing it correctly. There's an Italian lady, I think she was well into her 90s, and I first heard her sing and I thought, oh, what a young, beautiful, youthful sound. And there she was. She was an old woman by the piano singing, and she was explaining the benefits of looking after the voice for its sustainability and its longevity. So, you know, that's part of my mission is to, you know, re-educate people, because, you know, you go to concerts and the singer's on stage and the veins are popping out of the neck and they're squealing that top note, and everybody's, you know, thinking that's amazing. Well, that's vocal suicide, really. That's what that is. But we've programmed people to think that that's correct. So again, it comes back to programming.
Yeah, I mean, you got Jimmy Barnes, and I'm just thinking,
oh, Jimmy is the perfect example of that. So if you ever notice, Jimmy, he would do his concert or tour, and then he'd go, you wouldn't see him for a while, he'd disappear because he was in vocal rehab to get over what he'd just done, and then he'd resurface again and he'd do it all over again. Because the other thing is they then get to a point where that's what the audience wants. So he can't change too much because that's Jimmy Barnes and that's what they want to hear. They want to hear vocal suicide. That's what they're paying the money for. So, you know, I say to my students, I want to set you up in a way that you're sustainable from the get-go, so you can sing until you're 100 and you can work until you're 100. And your voice will last. It will be there. You'll have those top notes forever if you know, respect the voice.
For our overseas audience, particularly our UK ones, I just want to say Jimmy Barnes was the lead singer in Cold Chisel, and then he's gone out on his own. So if you want to type up Cold Chisel, you can understand where we're coming from.
Yeah,
I know that used to be Corolla's favourite. She used to love Jimmy Barnes. I must put her on my friend list again.
A lot. I mean, Jimmy Barnes has a huge following, and you know, good on him. And you know, he just had to do that. He had to just take time out and then come back, and take time out and come back. I'm sure he's got lots of, you know, vocal nodules on the folds, but you know, he's obviously works with them.
Has to look after himself, yeah. Hey, when you're talking there, I can remember the Dean Martin show where he'd slide down the pole and go up and talk to his buddy pianist, and he'd everybody have a scotch and have a cigarette, and he'd be doing his buddy, someone, was it, as it goes? Somebody loves someone sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so the sort of whole scene in it, the whole, the coolness, being cool. Yes, this is cool, having a whiskey, have a smoke, get Sid playing the guitar, playing the piano, talk about his missus. Oh,
yes. I've just got visions there of Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. You know, they were all sort of
party hard, drink hard.
Yeah. I'm sure they had a lot of fun.
And then Ozzy Osbourne with his theatrics
Well,
on the stage with Buddy Alcohol. Alice
yeah.
Cooper the same, isn't it? They're all hard rockers, Buddy on the drinking up.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's part of that culture, that band culture. Late nights, you know, definitely not early mornings. None of them would have been early risers, I'm sure.
Now they're going to bed.
That's right. That's right.
But it's
And-
interesting we're having this part of the conversation because it's very important when people want to move into the arts, such as, you know, singing and either take that and then step out and become a solo singer like Robbie Williams. And then, you know, so you're either the backup singer, and this whole mindset. I mean, a mate of ours, Ray Oliver, I mean, he come from Birmingham, and he was part of that whole scene there with the Cream Revolution. I mean, he was playing in all these nightclubs in Australia and Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane. I mean, those rooms were just full of smoke, you know, and they're all drinking hard liquor.
Yes.
And you come home and your eyes are smokes in your clothes and all that stuff, and you're playing all those sets. I mean, it's a whole new paradigm, isn't it?
It is. And, you know, that was, you know, was it healing what they were doing? I don't know. I mean, were they using music in a healing modality? Possibly not, but they were having a lot of fun all the same.
That was our version of a dating app, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, you know, the Playroom down here. That was one of those
kind of
those places. Yeah. So, you know, I think definitely smoking isn't good for the vocal folds. That's for sure. You know, I think, thank Christ, that artists don't have to be in venues full of smoke these days. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Wasn't it Johnny Farnham recently had something going on vocally, I think, or he wasn't well, and there was something to do with the throat, I thought, or maybe mouth. I don't know. I can't remember, but I did think, you know, maybe that he might have had something, you know, going on back in the day with smoke-filled rooms. And he was a smoker too, I think, wasn't he, Johnny Farnham?
Well, look, I've got to say, for our overseas audience and all that stuff, Johnny Farnham was the pristine, the boy next door. You come and invite to tea, and he did quite well with duets with Buddy, Olivia Newton-John, and
he was very much the Aussie boy, boy.
And he sang a couple of those songs from Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Did he? I don't remember.
And stuff like that. And he had some really big albums that came out there. Paradise. Yeah. So anyone who's watching the show, if you want to look it up, Johnny Farnham, he started off with a young boy being Sadie the Cleaning Lady was his initial debut song.
That's right.
But you take me down memory lane there at the Playroom. That was a place where you had 55 Angels, Cold Chisel, Buddy My Sex, Buddy.
I used to go off that
Australian
place.
Australian Crawl, yeah.
It was it was the place to be. Definitely. So, I mean, you know, I would say for me though, I don't necessarily, the people that come to me don't always want to be a Jimmy Barnes or a, you know, Andrea Bocelli or, you know, whoever. But they don't have to be, but they can still sing. And that is, I guess, the message that I really want to share with the world is, you know, you sing not because you want to be famous or a star. You sing because, first of all, it fills a void in you, and then you can connect with others through that. So it's working with energy, you know, singing is energy, and it's the voice is really our spirit. In a way, it is, when you think about it, we're born and we cry. The first thing we do is we breathe and we cry. So we vocalize. And then as we leave our physical body, it's the voice and the breath probably that are some of the last things that you know, as are hanging in there for us, you know. So it's an interesting thing, the voice. It's, you know, like I said, I could talk hours about the voice and probably bore the listeners, but it is definitely worth exploring your own voice. Don't feel like you can't sing. If you want to reach out to me. I think I have all my details there. Even if you are overseas, that, you know, obviously Zoom is here for us, and we can use that as well. And just, you know, reconnect with this part of yourself. You know, this is our expression. So when we're also vocalizing, we then start to stand up for ourselves. We start to assert ourselves. Where, you know, that's a scary place for the establishment.
Yeah. Imagine, you know, if everybody had a voice and spoke up.
Oh my goodness! Look out!
Overdue, eh?
Look out! So that's kind of how, you know, I feel my role is in this time in our lives, is even if it's a little bit, you know, just chipping at it. Obviously, I am actually, and maybe your listeners might like to follow this, is with a student of mine who's very clever, putting together an online platform, and it will be sort of linked to my website, and it's called Vocal Reconnect. So that will be a space that people can subscribe to, and I will have vocal production videos. I'll have vocal wisdom, vocal hygiene, health and wellness, because the voice is also not just the voice. It is living in this body that we also need to keep functioning well and at optimum form, you know. So we need to be mindful of what we eat and drink and all of these things. So definitely no nights at the playroom.
Hey, can I ask you to put a one particular song on all your students so they can learn how to sing it? Can you teach them how to sing Happy Birthday? Because everywhere I go in public places and you listen to people sing Happy Birthday, why are they singing? Come on. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple tone. If you can teach them, that'd be fantastic.
Well, you know, apparently it's one of the hardest songs to sing. That's what I've heard. No way.
Is it Happy Birthday?
That's what I've heard. But the problem is that most of the time they're all starting at a different time. You need a conductor. You need someone to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, that's a good tip.
You know, like, so that will ensure at least that they're all together when they start. And then, you know, they'll have to, maybe you could lip trill it, you see.
Yeah, for those that are frank to sing,
start with lip trilling Happy Birthday first, and then feel where the lip trill is, feel how much breath you need, and then try and sing it.
All right. That's very fantastic.
On that note, I was going to say, on that note, we've come to the end, I think. It's been an absolute delight, Barbara, just to see you again, because it's been a long while.
I know.
But sharing all your wisdom and your passion with everyone, and I'm sure there's lots of tips that people can go away and have a practice whistling, toning, humming, singing, you know, whatever. So thank you so much for being our guest this week. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for having me. And yes, look, you know, I hope I've inspired people to start singing, and like I said, they can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel, and, you know, if they just put in Barbara Prestia, they'll find me, and they can always reach out to me. And you know, it's really just about sharing with others that they are limitless beings. We are limitless, and really we can achieve anything we want to achieve.
I mean, we are a musical instrument, and it's about keeping yourself tuned or in tune.
Exactly. Just as the violinist tunes the violin, or the piano tuner comes and tunes the piano, we got to do the same. We've got to do the same.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
Well, stay on board while we reverse out.
Okay.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Same time next week.
All right.